The holographic projectors hummed softly as Ambassador Zyxthar of the Crystalline Collective stood before the Galactic Council, his transparent frame trembling with what the interpreters translated as profound concern. Behind him, a massive screen flickered with surveillance footage from the human colony of New Terra, footage that had sent shockwaves through 17 star systems in less than an hour. "They call it ingenuity," Zyxthar announced, his voice carrying the peculiar resonance of silicon-based entities. "We call it madness." The council chamber erupted. Representatives from 100 species spoke over one another, their voices layering into a cacophony of clicks, howls, and electromagnetic pulses. The Vulthrons demanded immediate military intervention. The Sci-Fi Collective called for quarantine protocols. Only the elder Vethans, a species that had achieved peace through transcendence 5,000 years ago, remained silent, their ancient eyes studying the footage with quiet fascination. The footage itself was deceptively simple. It showed a group of humans gathered in what appeared to be a primitive workshop. With stone tools, they shaped obsidian into razor-sharp edges. They bound wooden branches together with plant fibers. Within hours, they had constructed instruments that defied the Council's expectations, spears that could pierce reinforced armor, bows that launched projectiles with velocity calculations that seemed impossible without computational aid, and traps that demonstrated strategic thinking bordering on genius. "But they have access to advanced technology," protested Commodore Kresh of the Metallic Alliance, his armored exoskeleton reflecting the chamber's light. "They were given plasma rifles when they joined the Interstellar Trade Federation. Why would they resort to such primitive methods?" Dr. Valine, a biological analyst from the Archive Worlds, stepped forward. Her multiple eyes focused intently on the council. "Because," she began, her voice steady and clinical, "humans don't think like us. They don't see raw materials as inert objects. They see potential. They see a rock and imagine it as a weapon. They see a tree and envision it as a tool. This is not a limitation, it is their greatest strength." The screen shifted, showing another scene. A group of humans had created what appeared to be a catapult, engineered from wood and rope. They tested it repeatedly, adjusting angles and tensions with the methodical patience of engineers. When it finally launched a payload with devastating accuracy, the humans celebrated with sounds the translators couldn't quite capture, a mixture of joy, pride, and something primal. "The real issue," Dr. Valine continued, "is their determination. Humans don't surrender their problems to fate. When faced with scarcity, they innovate. When faced with danger, they adapt. When faced with impossible odds, they become most creative. Our species learned to rely on technology we didn't fully understand because it was always available. Humans learn to understand every single thing they create." The Vethans finally spoke, their elder representatives' words resonating with the weight of millennia. "We have seen this pattern before. A species that can craft weapons from sand and stone is a species that cannot be conquered. Not by superior firepower, not by advanced technology, not by mere numbers. Because the moment you take away their tools, they will make new ones. The moment you destroy their weapons, they will forge better ones. This is the essence of what they call hope." A chilling silence fell over the chamber. The human delegation, seated in a separate section and carefully not interfering, watched with what the sensors indicated was suppressed amusement. Their representative, Colonel Sarah Chen, allowed herself the smallest of smiles. Her people had learned long ago that sometimes the most powerful tool wasn't the most sophisticated, it was the one you understood completely. Back on New Terra, the humans continued their work. They didn't know of the Council's debate. They didn't care about galactic politics or interstellar trade routes. They simply knew that within their camp, there was stone and wood and determination. And those three things, they had learned across millions of years of evolution, were enough to face any challenge the universe could throw at them. The Galactic Council, for the first time in recorded history, faced a threat that couldn't be quantified by technological advantage alone. They faced a species that turned limitation into innovation, scarcity into abundance, and primitive materials into instruments of survival. As Ambassador ZYXR watched the footage loop once more, he came to a singular conclusion: humanity wasn't dangerous because of what they could build. They were dangerous because of what they refused to accept as impossible. Kindly like and subscribe channel. Thank you.